Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Ark Awakening. Ark Awakening is brought to you by Skyport Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and it's about 20 minutes per player. You awake from cryogenic sleep in a strange biodome that resembles your home planet. You have no memory of how and why you were there. Obviously, a temporary loss of memory is a side effect of the cryogenic sleep. You start exploring and find out that your biodome is just one of many rooms on a traveling semi-automatic alien spaceship known as the Ark. Each room is the size of a city, and the Ark is the size of a planet. You explore the Ark, opening and enabling parts of the ship. You power up rooms, integrate the Ark's technology with your own in order to advance your faction. Exploit resources needed to awake the rest of your species, collect alien artifacts, and investigate the reasons why your faction is at the Ark. Ark Awakening is a hybrid worker placement and area control game with deep engine building. During the gameplay, the central board is constructed by placing tiles next to each other. The goal of the game is to unravel the reasons or mission why your alien faction is at the Ark and then activate specific parts of the Ark in order to achieve your mission. The first player that does wins the game and may unlock the secrets of the Ark. Now, setup on this one is going to be different based on the type of game you're playing. We have the solo game, we have a cooperative game, and there's the competitive game, which we're set up for a 2-player competitive. But there are some common things between each of those game modes, so let's take a look at those. And so you have these edge pieces that will create your rectangle play area, which is the Ark that you'll be moving throughout within the ship. Now, each player also has their own player board, which shows the different worker placement actions you may perform. It also has your power generator and your military track, along with your colored meeples and trackers and cubes that you're going to be using throughout the game, as well as your crew members that start in their biodome. And you do have a biodome that starts off your player board, but in other games you might have a second biodome that you will tap into. And you're going to take one of each type of factory room and place it in the corners of the ship, face up on the interior of the ship, I should say. You place those face up with a resource. Each of those gets a resource of the appropriate type. We'll take a look at resources in a minute. And of course, you're going to set up your stack of room tiles. Now, this is going to vary as well based on how you're playing and what you're doing, especially if you're doing like the first mission, which is really a great tutorial, which we'll take a look at that as well. But it just depends on how you're going to play and what rooms, special rooms you're going to be setting up here. There's a bunch of icons that dictate what the different special rooms are, and depending on how you're going to play will determine how many of those different types of rooms get put in this stack. And finally, you'll set up another power generator, basically kind of in the middle here, where eventually you'll connect to as you explore through the ship. But this can be either the turquoise or the violet. It really doesn't matter how you set that up or what color you set it up as. But that will be one of the final steps to setting up your ship, so to say. And then let's take a look at resources. Now, for these resources, we're using placeholders. This is a prototype. We have a bunch of crystals, colored crystals that correspond. But in the final game, they're going to have some really neat tokens representing the different types of resources, which are dilithium, titanium, osvite, and biotics. So you're going to be gathering these resources to do all kinds of things in this game. And there might be robots in the game. So you have represented meeples for those, and you have the different cards. You have artifact cards, you have mission cards, and you have room activated cards. But these mission cards really walk you through what you need to do on your turn, what you're trying to achieve anyway in your game. And what it really turns into is the fact that everyone has a mission and it becomes a race to do the items on your mission card first. But if you're doing the first mission, it's pretty basic and it really does help teach you the game. So yes, Ark Awakening is a hybrid worker placement and area control game, but with exploration elements. And it has a deep multi-layered engine builder and asymmetric gameplay. Players start to explore the Ark and reveal randomly placed rooms. Each room provides a different option and can be utilized in different ways. Players must learn to adapt on the go and make choices that best capitalize on the revealed rooms. Combat is possible between players, but combat is not the focus of the game. Instead, players will compete to finish their objectives faster and use combat as just one of the many tools to get there. So at the beginning of the game, the first phase that you're going to be doing is the awakening phase. And this is really just to surround your biodome with rooms. And you're going to preserve the drawn order by placing them in clockwise fashion around your biodome. Now, it doesn't matter orientation here, but those rooms will dictate where you'll start moving out from in your biodome. And then you have the action phase, which could be followed by a combat phase when necessary. But again, this game is not about combat, but it does come into play when you need it. The other thing is that on your player board, this is where you'll be performing your 7 different actions. And really, these are your worker placement actions, and each of your worker placement actions are upgradable if you have the appropriate resources. So along with your 7 core actions, there are some free actions you can perform, but really for this video, we're going to focus on these 7 main ones. Just know that there's some additional things you can do throughout the game. But really, you're going to be placing your worker on one of the action spots. And you'll notice again at the top, like I said earlier, they are upgradable, or you're going to give them a power boost. If you can pay the resource cost, then you can put a cube out, and suddenly your movement of 2 becomes a 3. So it's pretty clever how that works. And really, why are you using these different actions, these different worker placement actions? Well, it all depends on your mission card, what you're trying to achieve for that particular game, which leaves a lot of replayability in the game. So one of the concepts we should talk about is basically having control of a room. Across the top, there might be spaces for cubes where you'll be placing your cubes, or even sharing those spaces with other players that might share control of a room with 2 players and leaving a third out, things like that. But there's also power conduits along the left. Everyone can contribute to those power conduits. And when you do, it increases the level of the room in types of resources and things that you might gather from that room. So as you use your mobility action, you're going to be moving one of your aliens out into the arc. And as you move, you're going to start placing new rooms ahead of where they're moving. It's really that simple, and you can divide up the moves however you see fit, but you're moving along this orthogonal path. So let's take a look at production and exploitation. Now, the thing here is there is another resource. It's black, metamorphite, and it's a wild to all the resources that you can acquire throughout the game. So you could add these to increase the number you need for a particular action or whatever you're trying to upgrade. So you can produce metamorphite. And again, you're looking at the top of the action, seeing how much you can produce. In this case, the base level is 2. But again, this would be worth upgrading if you have the resources to do so. Exploitation is all about gathering resources. You choose up to 4 factory rooms that you control, and you gather the resources up. Again, remembering for control of the room, either you have one of your aliens there, or you have control via the cubes across the top. Now, depending on how much power is being funneled into that room will determine how much of that particular resource you will gather, the base level generally being 2. So the power generator action allows you to move these cylinders, funneling power from your room into another factory, so to say. And when you do, again, it increases the ability of that room, potentially giving you more resources you might pull. And again, multiple people can contribute to the power being funneled into the room. Now, you also can pull cylinders back. And like all the other spots, you do have the ability, if you pay the cost, to upgrade your power generators and get more that you can use throughout the arc. So you've heard me mention a few times now that you can upgrade these different actions that you perform. But first, you would have to go to engineering to do so. And your base level here is 2, so you can place 2 cubes, either in your biodome, as long as you have an alien present in your biodome. Anywhere you have an alien present, it will give you an opportunity to place a cube across the top of that room. Or upgrade, one of your actions. Again, you might have to pay the cost to do so, And not just placing a cube there, but there may be a cost associated with it to enhance a room or enhance your actions in your biodome. And then we have the artifact research. So the thing here is that if it's your first game and you're using that first mission card, you'll skip this altogether because the artifacts are not going to help you in this first mission, but they will in the more advanced games with the more advanced missions. Now, when you pull an artifact card, depending on your modifier, will determine how many you draw and how many you keep. But the thing is that these cards are going to have some trade-offs. They might have an ability on them that you really want, but they might really enhance your combat. So you have to choose how you're going to use these cards, but they're generally a one-time use. And then you have military development. Again, your base level here is 2. You're going to move along the tracker, increase your military might. Now, the game is really not about combat. You're going to potentially need it. It's just another tool you might use throughout the game. And then you have these abilities in the middle of your board about waking more crew members or more aliens in your biodome. Of course, there's a cost associated with that. And there's also a cost associated with healing one of your crew members if they did take damage in battle. So that's just a basic look at the different actions you can perform and some of the basics of how you upgrade things. But really, there's a lot of things that make this game really special because these player boards have an A and B side. And we just took a look at the basic things you can do. But on the B side, you have this asymmetric abilities of all the different factions, allowing you to do even bigger and better things. And there's rooms that basically allow you to break the rules of the game. There's like transport gate that you can move from one transport to another, moving quickly throughout the arc, and even more so using a launch bay to move from one area of the ship to another. Really awesome, actually quickly moving you around. And you can even hack into the system and control rooms from other rooms, so to say. And you can do all kinds of things like integration. If you fully integrate a room with your cubes across the top, well, then you have the ability to potentially chain multiple actions together. Really awesome. And if you want more abilities, you can you can take control of the robots and use them for your bidding, having them send them out across the ship to do whatever you need them to do. So there's a lot of neat things about how these rooms work and how you use them. Again, the thing that's really neat here about the replayability of this game is the fact that there's so many different types of missions, keeping the game fresh and different every time you play. And the fact that you're just basically racing against your opponents to finish your mission card long before they do. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview. Everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this game offers a lot. You've got a solo mode, you have the cooperative mode, and you have that competitive mode. And you can even play with just basic actions or that asymmetric actions related to your different factions or players, and really enhancing the gameplay. And the fact that the missions are so different every time you play really changes up the game and what you're going to do on your turn to achieve those goals. And I really like that. The game stays really fresh and keeps you coming back for more. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.